Here you go.
Hey, buddy. Let's get ready.
Good
Oh,
morning.
hello. This is, look at this doggy. He's so happy. It's a happy dog.
All right.
So anyway, I got a computer problem. Maybe you could fix it. So,
All right.
there is a great misconception about what is the Bible or what's the Quran. There's two books, right? We already established the one book is 6,000 years old, the other one is so many centuries. But the misconception is that the Torah is religion. No. When you read the first pages of Genesis, it's all about science. There's no religion. The religious aspects of it, how to behave, what to do, to have a nation, to have a government and so on, comes later under Moses. Moses was 2,400 years BC. But the Bible is 6,000 years old. So, therefore, the Bible was written by 40 scribes, appointed by the Creator to write down. They didn't think about this. They were told to write. So, but it is an unbroken record of human history, 6,000 years old. There are no billion years. That's a fairy tale. So, what does it write about? Well, read it. In the beginning was heaven and earth. Therefore, if there is heaven, where's heaven? And we have to look up in the sky. We see galaxies. Now we see with the Hubble telescope, we see an expanding universe. And there's dark space beyond that. But what is it? That is a universe, but it's still in a dimension which we'll live. We're mortal. Our eyes see that. Our mind sees that. But the Hebrew in the Torah writes about heaven, earth, dimension. If I put dimension on it, that's a science equivalent of something. It could be this way, or that way. What's your mind? Your mind is a dimension. The dimension is expressed in 5 senses: hearing, seeing, talking, smelling, feeling. But that's physical. But show me the mind. Show me the concepts of mind. What's a mind concept? Love, truth, energy. Oops. Don't think in terms of energy like electricity and energy moving a car. That is on the result when you have a mind. You need a mind first. Give an explanation. My little kid, grandkid, stands in front of the cuckoo clock and he has to wind up the cuckoo clock, right? And there's 2 weights on hanging there. They drive the, and it measures time. You wouldn't measure time if there wasn't gravity. Tell me about it. So there's a force, an invisible force out there in the universe where everything is held in balance, gravity. But what is gravity? It's a force which runs my cuckoo clock and tells me time. So therefore, we have to look back to the Bible again. And what's the first verse? It says, let me read the Bible verse here. And in the beginning God created the heavens and earth. And then it says, there was first light, and there was light, and God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. And then was evening and the morning the first day. What's that mean, evening and morning? That's a time dimension. You can't have the first day without a time dimension. You cannot have a relationship between heaven, wherever that is, and earth. It's bridged by a time dimension. Einstein, for instance, has a famous formula to express what is energy. When energy crystallizes out into mass, we look at the universe, it's full of energy. You see the galaxies? Why are the lights on? Because there's energy flowing, invisible to our eyesight. You see, infinite energy doesn't have a time base. When light, what we see today, has a time base, which Einstein formulated. When it has a time base in it, then it can crystallize into matter. And Fraunhofer analyzed it, the vector lines of 100 elements. That's physics, chemistry. But before you get to that point, you have to have energy to shape it and form it. And there is this two thermodynamic laws. The first one says you can never get over 100%. It deteriorates down to the lower level. The energy runs down, the sun burns down. Everything what is blown up gets cold to Kelvin cold. That's the thing. When the second law of thermodynamics says it will always be less. So with other words, when we look at science today and they teach in universities a lie, which is telling you there was the Big Bang, when then the energy came up, it exploded into the universe. It's not taught in universities about math. I'm not a math guy. I'm just a little instrument maker from Germany, but the logic teaches me something when you have energy. Okay? So Einstein comes up with an energy formula. It's mass times, in bracket, c squared. C is the time dimension. So you need mass, can only it develop or crystallize out into a time dimension, which is c squared. So they said energy equals m squared c. Now, I expanded that theory because infinite energy doesn't have a time base in there. So when you go light from the sun, right? It's pretty hot. Light comes to us, something burns, right? So we analyze this as so many miles, 180 or 280 miles, or I don't know, so many miles per second. And then you go up the spectrum of alpha, beta, gamma rays is so many, it's a frequency, right? So many miles per second, per minute, per femtoseconds, per whatever time dimension you put it. There's an atom clock. It has a different time dimension. My Cougar clock has a different time dimensions. And then the Big Bang has billion years time dimension. Well, that is still time. What is beyond time? When infinite, there's a formula I created, it says infinite energy equals Zero time. It's a balance. It's a teeter-totter. You get infinite energy down to a little less, then time goes up. All of a sudden, time shows up. That was never there before. So you cannot have anything in the universe without a time dimension. When that is in the first book of the Bible, it says right here, there was evening. Wait a minute, evening is a time dimension. There's morning, there's a time dimension. And why did they say evening? Well, it starts out in the evening. Oh, we start in the morning. No, but the Genesis starts out before the morning. We get the morning later. So there is a time dimension. There was evening to morning. Hey, that's a time dimension. And what happens? Ausdehnung. Oops, there's something crystallizing out from the time dimension, crystallizing out in no matter. And then Fraunhofer, he analyzed the lights coming. The spectral lines in there. And each one is an element. Gold, silver, hydrogen, oxygen. It's all there. It's all there. It's all there. And we used it in the police force to find out what this guy was poisoned. There's arsenic in there. There it is. There's the line. So this guy was poisoned. We use it in science, in genetics. We use it everywhere. So if you don't have a time dimension, then you have infinite energy. When infinity slows down, it crystallizes into matter. But when matter is burning, we can see the frequency inside. Rainbow frequency has all the lines in Fraunhofer discovered of all the elements we have, and they become matter. Therefore, if we take what is in brackets c squared and expand it, our calendar, we are mortal. We have a past, we have a future. The present doesn't exist because it's only in your mind. Because at the very fraction of a second, it's either past or it's still future. What is the zero? So if you take something and tear it up in half, take the other half, tear it up in half, tear it up in half, and half, and half. When do you end? You always have a piece left over. You never get to the 0 point. Never. So the past or the future cannot be divided. This is a time, so you have to say infinite past, infinite future, in bracket squared. Now you have the Einstein formula again, but it's expanded in a bigger model to explain the universe. Hey, explain to me the universe. Why are the lights on in the galaxy? Where did that energy come from? There's not a big bang and fist out and it's cold. No, it's still burning. So the fist out energy is still there. It didn't happen so many billion years ago. When were you born? When were Adam and Eve born? Oh, yeah. Now we have a formula here, and if you got a little logic in your mind, and you're not brain dead from the universe to the evolution religion, then you can understand Einstein expanded. Yeah, he lived 50 years ago. Now it's by time we look at it again. And we say, we have modern computers, we have calculators and everything else, so why don't we figure it out what we see? But not with fairy tales. With real science, the physics and metaphysics. Oh, metaphysics. Oh, not forbidden. There we look at metaphysics that we don't understand it. Well, because you don't have the education, you don't understand it. You need to educate it. It's in the Bible. And if you reject the Bible, you're not educated. What are you going to be? A monkey, okay. They have every month a monkey face and the latest discovery, and then they show you what your grandfather looks like. we'll put the different background on there, another sheet. We're going back to describe heaven and earth, and we have said heaven, wherever that is, way down is earth. And if you look at the universe and the galaxies, the Milky Way galaxies, we're on the edge of the galaxy. You know why? If we were in the center, there's too much energy. On the outside of the galaxy is Kelvin cold. It's too cold. So God put us right in there, and there's another reason. On the edge, it's like a disc. When we look up, we see the skies. If you're in the center of a weak field, you don't see the skies. It's like a funnel. We see it as a disc, but it's like an hourglass. It comes down together, narrowed, and then it goes the other side. And there's a galaxy out there. It's an hourglass galaxy. It's a perfect picture of what the universe is. On one side is the heat dimension, the heaven dimension. The other side is the Dallas dimension, our earth, because we're mortal, we have a mind. Our mind is a miniaturization of the big mind, Elohim, who created us. He says, He created us in the image of God. Let us make man in our image. Whoa! But God is invisible. How can an invisible be made visible? Well, you need another dimension. You need a time dimension to make it visible to us. This is interesting science. That's not religion. What the Bible is teaching, it's a science book. It has not. Well, they made it into religion. Now let's look at heaven and earth. There's, in the Hebrew language, is another thing. It's the oldest language. Adam, Eve spoke Hebrew. Do you realize that? And then 1,000 years, then came Noah. What happened? Well, there was an asteroid came by on the 5th of February, 2287 BC, when the earth had an axis wobble. When 4,300 years later, I live in this century, and we never measured the earth axis wobble, which was going slower and slower and slower, and now stopped at 23.5 degrees on the 21st December 2012. That's proven by science with satellites. They can now measure. Okay, now the Hebrew language is basically 5-dimensional. What's one dimension is music. How can music be dimension? Yeah, there's 5 layers. One layer is music. Another layer is mathematics. Another layer is alphabet, A, B, C, so on. So you get 5 layers. Now music, that's interesting. When you have Adam, Eve, they tell the story in Hebrew. When then comes Noah, who had what? Look at me. What do we have in Noah's day? A flood. What happened in the flood? All the records destroyed. Then later on, 8 people survived. The earth grew again, and then they recorded the history of mankind. Moses did. But how did he record it? Did you ever thought about that? How he did that?
No.
Moses lived 40 years in this desert. He had plenty of times sheep. But his father-in-law was his amazing man. He remembered all the songs. He had 7 daughters, and they were singing the songs. What songs? From way beyond. And what are songs for? When a woman sings to a little child, Mary had the little lamb, and so on, stuff like that. There's buried information in the song, and we never changed. So you have the story of Adam, Eve, and who begat, everything built into a song, which was sung to grandchildren, to next grandchildren, to next children, next generation, all the way down to Moses. They remembered the songs, and now Moses, whoops, he was educated in Egypt with hieroglyphs. He invented an alphabet, and the alphabet is just like the Gutenberg press. It has the alphabet in little stencils, and when you put the alphabet together this way, you get a word. And when you get a word, you get a sentence. When you get a sentence, you have the whole story, which is another dimension, another layer. So one thing is songs, another layer is writing, another layer is mathematics. So when you have an A, and B, and C, so A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, and so on. So you have alpha is God, number 1. And then comes Dallas is number 4. It's this world and this time dimension. And then you have the next He, which is 5. And 5 is the angel world. It's the other side. We don't know about it unless it's revealed by God. There's no other book in this world which reveals the other side. They're guessing, speculating. So anyway, you want to believe what you want to believe? That's okay. I'm a scientist. Gotta tell you this story. A little joke. Einstein, you know, I wrote in my books, and I have a new formula for energy, infinite energy. It has no time dimension in it, and I made a formula in science. You check it out, which is 1 notch higher than Einstein. You know that I'm like Einstein, that's crazy. When he was old, you know, that's me. I'm like Einstein. Oh, you got to turn that off. Now, when Einstein went on a train, he went inside the train, he wanted to go someplace. And then the conductor comes around, tickets, 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 and then he comes to Einstein, and Einstein looks all over, can't find his ticket. But then the conductor says, oh, I know you. You're Dr. Einstein. You don't have to show me your ticket. Everything is fine. And he walks on, ticket, ticket, ticket. And then he looks back. And he says, yeah, your dog already laughed ahead of time. Now, he sees Einstein underneath the bench, the legs sticking out. So the conductor goes back, but Dr. Einstein, I told you, don't worry about it. You don't have to show me your ticket. Then Einstein gets up and says, yeah, but I need to know where I'm going. See, that's Einstein, and now you meet another crazy guy. He doesn't know where he's going. But anyway, I'm having fun in science. You know, there's 1 notch higher formula on the Babushka books. If you want to read about the new atom theory, it's fantastic. But it starts upside down, what we teach in the university. We teach there was the Big Bang. When they fall out, wait a minute, I'm a scientist, I'll look up, my kid looks up and says, how come the universe has all the lights on? Christmas lights, they're all over the place. What's that energy? Where'd that come from? Well, there is energy today. There's no Big Bang. The Big Bang is today. Look at the lights. You know when you see New York's party, when you see all the lights up there, that's today. New York. Go there, check it out. Now, thermodynamic law says
Let me ask you. You said twice you're talking about thermodynamics.
Yeah.
Go ahead if you want to talk about
You know, we were sitting together, and when I look at what I just said, twice it was cut off, thermodynamic laws. And I said, whoa, what's going on? And you know, the camera died. The camera must be mortal too. It died, which proves Newton's law, you know. Thermodynamic law is Newton, it's right there. There's a cause and something affects it, right? So since the thermodynamic laws is downhill and ends in Kelvin cold, what's that mean? There's two things. First of all, what is taught in science, the Big Bang, is fantasies. It's just fairy tales. Because you have to have energy to start out with. But the Big Bang, they say, oh, whoops, they up and went up in the sky. And that's the universe.
That's a good point.
But the point is this.
You have this is beautiful.
Any law, physics, metaphysics, needs
Energy.
a mind, intelligence to direct it. There is no genes. DNA has intelligence embedded to direct it this way or that way, billion ways. Where's the intelligence to tell the Big Bang to go this way, which is expanding, or imploding in the other direction? Tell me, where's the intelligence embedded in the Big Bang?
Okay. Can I put my thoughts right now with you? I agree with you because you are logical and I am construction.
Oh yeah, computer guy.
No,
you fix my computer.
I have BS engineering as education in construction, which is full of physics and chemistry and science and everything else. So, Herb, say what you want and don't worry about if people don't agree with you, because God agree with you if you are on the right path.
You know, you're not the only one to not agree with me. There's the whole Christian churches out there. They won't even look at my Babushka books.
This is the reason. This is the only reason I want to expose you, because I felt you have truth on you.
No. We don't even need that. God will appoint people.
Yes, that's true.
It's not us.
That's
we
true.
had nothing to look. You're the back door. There you have your shop, and this is a different shop. And I don't have an office. I don't have nothing. Didn't have a camera, didn't have this, and now there's 14 books free. The Babushka books are free on the internet. You don't have to pay money for that. I don't need your money. So you can read all the crazy ideas of the new atom theory, but the only thing is, I want to go back. You asked me initially about a date. Something is coming, something's going to happen big time in this world right now. It's dated already in the sky. The videos has gone prolific, but now here's the date. How did I find the date? I discovered that there are many gold clocks, bronze clocks, stone clocks, big building clocks around the world in museums. They all measure something, they all tell them when I crack the code. But when I cracked the code, then I discovered, whoa, we have 5 calendars. They all dovetail to one point. And then I found out that these calendars measure these clocks. So you put the clocks and calendars together, and then the Bible on top of that. All of a sudden it dovetails to this year. Something's going to happen, because next year we have a new civilization. But the theologians are totally asleep, and the scientists in universities teaching lies, not physics. They don't even know metaphysics.
To them, it's a job to make money to live.
They're so blinded, and they're not on top of that. They suppress the benefits God gives us. There's free energy for 100 years, and we still use stinking oil, stinking coal, and stinking poison nuclear.
That's true.
And we keep on going. And there's free energy, and we suppress it even today. That is what I'm angry at. I'm angry at the governments who suppress it. God's giving us what we need. 7 billion people could use free energy in the air. It's clean. And the water would be clean, and the fish would come back. No, we don't want it. We only want nuclear wars. They're going to get it. They're going to get nuclear wars. And they're going to fly to hell, all of them.
Yes.
Because that's what they want.
That's true. But is this prediction God told us is going to happen?
It's in the sky.
But God said it's going to happen.
I didn't write it in the sky.
Yeah, I know. But
It's in the first page in the Bible.
yeah, but God said it's going to happen at the end of time, right?
The last book in Revelation. Yeah. But you know what theologians made it out of it? Screwed up. Everything.
It's okay.
They say, oh, the apocalypse is 7 years. Where did they get that idea from? They have 1,000 reasons to get the money in church.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know it. You know it? What I'm telling you, that at the end of the years, this civilization is history.
There's possibility, and there's possibility later.
You put 5 calendars together, and 12 clocks, ancient clocks, what's in museums, when you read the Bible and you put that all together as a scientist, hey, take what you take.
So you think when? You still think that September 17th?
Everybody on this month, you're going to see it. The YouTube video is going to be quiet because the blue moon, tetra blue moon, the sun eclipse, and the Jewish celebrate certain holidays, this and that, it's going to pass. And no sound, nothing. What's happened? Whoops, nothing. The year isn't over yet. Solstice 2015. I said it 10 years ago. Every year there's another book. 2015. Solstice. Solstice. And I didn't know it. I had one mistake. I didn't know that the Hebrew calendar was leading our Gregorian calendar, and I was believed, theologian, stupid stuff, 7 years, that it was behind. And so I'm off by 1 year. When I wrote about something that's going to happen in New York, it didn't happen. Then I said, wait a minute, Lord. All these other scientific facts, they are down.
But
they do.
I want to ask you one question about related to what you're saying. Is it in the Bible, God said that the time for the hour is unknown?
No, that is theological.
But no?
Theologians, you know what they did with the Bible? They screwed it up too. Jesus explained something. And all of a sudden they take it out of context. Jesus said something here, and then they split it up and start a new chapter. What was it split up? Jesus, they asked him when it's going to be happen, and then it says that Jesus said, my words will always be there, right to the end of time, when there's a new heaven and new earth. Only the change, when there's no more time dimension, that is only God knows that. And the theologian says, oh, even Jesus doesn't know it. He comes to earth, he's God, he forgot. He's as stupid as us when he says, no one knows the time. Well, if you don't know the time, you miss the airplane. It's just, that's the logic. And Jesus says,
it's work for airplane.
Then they only do they call Jesus a liar. The theologian said Jesus is a liar. You know what he says?
God knows the time, but you don't know.
No. Jesus says, he says, in one generation, I will come back as King of Kings. no longer to sacrifice to be nailed again. No, he's coming with his army.
That's true.
He's coming in power.
That's true.
When he's clean up the rat's nest.
God gonna put his hand
But
on
when
it.
did he say it? He says in one generation. Hey, what's one generation? The whole Bible is in 70 years everywhere. So one generation is 7 years in the Bible. So you count when Israel is a nation after 2,500 years. Israel is a nation. Whoa, believe that. In United Nations on the 29th November 1947. That's why it announced Israel is a nation. Count 70 years. You get next year 5777. First Tishri. That's the date for the new kingdom on earth being here. What happened before that? This civilization has to go. That means now. Solstice 2015. And right after that, watch the sky.
Thanks.
That's it.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's it. That's all we have.